Okay, so here's my favorite bike ever, my 2007 KTM 525 EXC. It is quite simply the best dirt bike slash dual sport I've ever owned, and I love it in every way. Performance, reliability, yeah, it literally just does everything well. Taken it. I took it on. That's the bike I used on my license test, and yeah, it's a brilliant bike. Now, I thought I'd just run through some of the things that I've done with the bike in order to make it sort of like a bit of a dual sport build. So it's not. There's a few things added on that has made the bike a little bit heavier. But I prefer that. It means I can take it out on the road or get to trails pretty, comfortably. Yeah, I just thought I'd run through it. Now, I got it off this bloke. I'm pretty sure it was near Glengarry. And he was a second owner, and he really didn't want to sell the bike, and I completely get it now. Well, at the time I got it, I sold my own. My next favourite bike is my 1991 Honda XR250, and I sold that bike to a mate of mine, and I really didn't want to sell it, but my wife was adamant I wasn't using it, so that made sense. Anyway, I still get to see the XR250. My mate brings it down from time to time, so it's like catching up with a long lost friend occasionally. So yeah, this bloke that was selling this bike really, he didn't want to sell it, and I'm glad he did, because I really love the bike. It had, I think it was 200 hours on it. I think I've got 480 hours on it now. I did get the top end done around the I think it was the 440 mark. I also got the Countershaft done too. We'll have a chat about that in a second. So apart from the rebuild, just to give it a bit of a top end refresh, 440 hours is pretty good for a essentially what is a race bike. But yeah, the basic build is I've got a Clark tank. I wanted to keep being a bit superficial, I wanted to keep the original quote-unquote graphics on it, because I do quite like it. And my 450, also the same year, same motor, same everything, apart from the fact that it's a 450 XE, has the the long-range safari tank on it. But I wanted something a bit bigger tank-wise. I found that this the original tank, I think it was 9 litres, and the fuel economy on the 525 is probably a weak point. It's not really a big deal for me, but yeah, I'd go on these 100k plus rides, and it was like coming back, I was always a bit worried I'd be running out of fuel. So the Clark tank, I think it's about 13 litres, no issues there. That's made it perfect from a dual sport perspective. The other things, well, you've got your indicators and all that sort of thing, mirrors, that's just standard stuff. Put a more powerful light globe in. The originals aren't anything to write home about now. So what have I done? Well, one of the things I did was I put a mock sprocket. It's a Cush hub sprocket, so rather than paying big bucks for a Cush hub drive, so to speak, and all that sort of stuff. This is made in New Zealand. It is actually a really cool product. I've got it on my 450. I had it on my 500 EXC as well. They've been relatively bulletproof. Changed the rubbers and some of the nuts and stuff out from it every, 5,000 Ks, probably check it every 2.5. But it means that there's less wear on the countershaft, which is well, a weak point on this bike. So there's a couple of small, the countershaft does wear out. There's a bloke in Australia that makes them. KTM don't stock them anymore. The guy's in WA, really nice dude. He's probably, you know, when they were making them, KTM basically, his countershafts are actually cheaper. The rest of part availability seems to be fine. Didn't have an issue getting, you know, a piston and all that sort of stuff. Interestingly enough, the cylinder was still perfect after, 440 hours. There are people that get about 600 hours off the top end, which is pretty great for these sorts of bikes. But you know, the recommended sort of thing is like 300 to 400 for a refresh. Then you don't have to worry about, you know, the cylinder and all that sort of stuff. It just ends up being cheaper in the long run. So there's the push up there. I got this isn't so much of a weak point, but the Stator is, I think it's the original Stator on this bike is a 80 watt or something Stator. I got a much more powerful Stator. It was 250 watts or something along those lines. With all this stuff that I'm mentioning, I will actually post it in the you know, everything that I've put on there in the comments with links. I'm not getting paid. Yeah, it's just a small channel that I've set up just as a, you know, some of my hobbies, such as growing fruit trees and riding my bikes. Yeah, so this isn't there aren't any paid promotions here. This is just literally for people to check out if they've got these bikes or something similar. And I can just say, look, that these upgrades have all been pretty great. So the Stator's been amazing. I got that done, the 250 watt Stator, high output Stator. I got that put in on my 450 EXC as well. That's got, you know, that's a lightweight adventure bike, and that's got all the you know, heated grips and all this sort of stuff, more lights. It's been amazing. Put a bigger battery in. The original battery was done and dusted, so didn't go with lithium, just the standard lead batteries. As I said, I just want reliability. I also want to be able to charge it, so there's a little charger over there. You use the Repco chargers on it. Yeah, put a little what was it, rig gear pack on. The other major thing that I've my mechanic put on was an oil cooler. Now it basically allows, so this is 1.2 litres of oil, allows you to put between 1.5 to 1.6 depending on you know, how much you actually drain out when you do your oil change, but it allows you to put 1.5 litres in. Also means, well, that's these bikes come with 2 filters, oil filters, so you only need to really only change one oil filter, and that's a permanent one. You just need to clean it. Those are the lines. You need, in order for this to work, you sort of need to get these motors, the KTM RFS motors, they're called Racing 4-strokes. They were put into Polaris ATVs and stuff. They use these motors. So there's an oil filter plug that you can get, that you need in order for this to work, from the KTM RFS motors that were used in the Polaris. There's people in Europe that sell them. They're about, I don't know, $200. So with the lines and the oil filter, now the oil filter is just from Amazon. It's a $110 one. Where, you know, it's quite tough. It's, you know, does the job. But yeah, you can hold 1.5 litres. Now both these bikes, generally speaking, between oil changes now with the oil filter, so both the 525 and my 450, looking at, yeah, you can go 1,000 to 2,000 Ks on an oil change. I use Penrite the 10W60 or 10W50, depending on the season. But that's one of the big mods on there. The 450 actually came with an oil cooler, which kind of made me decide to do it on this one as well, because I use them equally. And oil changes, whatever, man. Like, it's just, if I can ride more and do less stuffing around with the the dogs have decided to bark suddenly during this video. Less oil changes, more riding, works for me. Now, I was talking about weak points. So the Countershaft eventually grinds out. So as I said, there's a bloke in WA that does them. The water pump seals do give out. That did happen on this. It didn't strand me or anything like that, but it started slowly trickling out. I mean, they're $60. MX store, for example, and that's that. I've decided the seat. I decided to go to an upholsterer and just basically make it get it a bit softer. I've had the suspension serviced. I haven't, just a basic service. The settings are exactly the same, and that's really it. I can't really think of anything else major that I've done to the bike, but yeah, the mock sprocket, the stator, and the oil cooler. Those are the big ones, and it really helps with being able to go long distances on it without too much mucking around. Tires. Now usually I go with dot-approved tires, but every bike I've bought I keep inheriting tires, so I decided to use some of the ones I've got. I generally use Motos or Moto Z tires, whatever you want to call them. I'll do another video on those tires soon. Now the thing with this bike, and part of the reason why I love it, is it is just, it's got that long stroke motor, and it lugs like, a two-stroke. It basically, riding first, second, third, fourth. I mean, it's really forgiving to ride, and it is a very powerful bike, but it's incredibly forgiving as far as long as you use basic throttle control. It's not twitchy. Power is delivered, in a linear fashion, and yeah, it's just a really amazing ride. Vibrations are absolutely fine. It is a noisy motor. It does sound like a bit of a diesel. A diesel motorcycle in some, or diesel motor in some ways, but I did not find the vibrations to be obnoxious on this bike. I did find them to be incredibly obnoxious on my 500 EXE, the 2016 model that I had, and I've just recently sold. One last weakness that I should have mentioned earlier is the clutch slave cylinder. It can wear out after 200 to 300 hours. The only other thing that's ever happened as far as this bike goes, I guess, is the rear bearings, wheel bearings. It's good to be on top of that. It does, kind of wear them out as well. So some good quality bearings, probably a good thing every 2 to 3,000 or 4,000 Ks. I'm on, 484 hours now. It's almost done 20,000 Ks. The bike's been amazing. That's really it. This is my favorite bike. I will never sell this bike. I will put it on club reg eventually, in, I don't know, 5 years, 6 years time. So there's that. It's fully registered because I just like taking it around. Rec reg is nice and all, but that's the bike. My favorite bike of all time so far. And if my wife would allow it, I'd probably buy another 4 of them, because why wouldn't you? Anyway, this is, I should also just mention too so a bit of history on these bikes. So the RFS motors, KTM produced them from 2000 to 2007. These bikes essentially are regarded as depending on who you talk to, right? So it's regarded as KTM's version of a Honda XR. Is it as bulletproof as a Honda XR? No, it's not. There's more maintenance, etc. But it's probably one of the best bikes or motors that KTM ever produced. Arguably speaking, the the 2012 500 EXC and those generation of bikes have less weak points. There's no countershaft issues. Water pump's probably more solid, etc. But those bikes have fuel pump issues, etc. Every bike has its small niggling issues, but these bikes are regarded as KTM's version of an XR. As I said before, I don't think necessarily speaking it is as good as say an XR, as reliable as an XR 250 400 or 600, etc. But there's heaps of these bikes still around. They're still running with high hours. I mean, if they were lemons, they wouldn't be around. They still wouldn't be for sale. I personally think that this bike, as far as it's the perfect mix of reliability and power. It's just taken me in so many cool places. I've been completely confident basically in how its performance and to get me from A to B and back. And I love it. So there's that. Anyway, that's pretty much the 2007 500 EXC. So I'm going to go for a ride on it soon. I will. Let's see. I was going to probably head down towards the coast, which is more that away. But yeah, that's the bike. That's my favourite bike. I will do a video on the 450 EXC, and that's the lightweight adventure bike. This is my dual sport build for the 525 EXC. Thanks again for watching, and please subscribe to the channel. See ya.